This is a Let's Talk Church Safety and Security microsode with your host, Paul Buckner.
I love how the Lord works. It's an amazing thing. You pray, God, put me where you want me and use me. And it brings up an amazing conversation to have about church safety. And that is vehicle fires. I was driving through a decent sized town in my area on the phone with a Christian brother that we're quite close, and I look and there's smoke starting to roll out from underneath the hood about a half mile ahead of me. And I'm looking at it and I'm like, what am I seeing? Is that steam or is that smoke? It's hanging together like smoke. I told my buddy, I said, hey man, I may have to get off here. And so I called it in. And when I called it in, I ended up going up to the building. I apologized to the dispatcher. I gave him the location and I said, I got to get off here. I got to get a fire extinguisher, because the people driving the vehicle pulled it up right to the building and they decided to pop the hood with it rolling chemical smoke out from underneath the hood. So, you know, most of us in the church safety space would have the presence of mind to go, don't pull it right up to a building where you can set the building on fire. Don't pop the hood. And it's just rolling smoke out from underneath it. Try to keep a damper, on that fire. And now I smell really badly of smoke. I've got to get a shower. But what ended up happening was I took off running after I called it in, and I apologized to the dispatcher. I'm sorry. I've got to get off here and go get a fire extinguisher. And I got up there and we went through 3 fire extinguishers, and we were at the bottom of the 3rd fire extinguisher when the first firefighter arrived, and he was in his civvies taking his kids somewhere. And I asked him later if he'd ever put out a fire in his loafers, and he's like, nope. And he's like, that was the first. And so I started with a large one, and I just said keep them coming, because one of the things about fire extinguishers is they don't last long. And so, and this is all just fresh, this just happened, so I'm still kind of laughing, and I literally climbed back in my vehicle and started the video because I wanted it to be fresh. And I pray, God, put me where you want me and use me. And that's, I think, here I am, send me. I think that's about where we need to be when it comes to our walk with the Lord, and use us. Well, I started getting people back. Is the vehicle off? Yes, it's off. The lady was crying. She was trying to stand right next to it. And I'm like, you need to get back. You need to get back. You don't know what it's going to do. And I had them put the first spent fire extinguisher behind the tire, because it was not an electric vehicle, but I don't know what's going to happen. And they parked in such a way that it could have rolled backwards towards the pumps. And that's just honey bunches of nope right there. We just don't want that happening. And so it's rolling away from the pumps, or I'm sorry, it could have been rolling away from the pumps. It did not, or towards the pumps. It did not. But I just started dousing the flames, and the whole inside of the engine compartment was on fire. So I got low, I got in close, and I just hit it. And my thought was, if I'm not having an impact, I'm going to back off. And if I start hearing things popping and I know that I'm in danger, I'm going to back off. But I was able to keep it oxygen deprived enough that it just had a few flames when the firefighter got there. And I said, man, stay back. And he said, hey, I'm FD, I'm fire department. And I was like, oh, it's all you, brother. I'm off-duty law enforcement. And he laughed. And it was down to the point, as they say, you could have beat on it and put it out. It was almost out. But it was a God thing because it could have actually set the building on fire. And we need to have the presence of mind to go, this is a fire. We need to get the right people on the way. Don't park it right next to the building. Don't endanger the gas pumps. They could have pulled it in across the street. There was an empty parking lot. And these are things that, in those situations, by the time I could get to the vehicle, they'd already popped the hood, and there was no rolling it back from the building. And I knew I was going to have to deal with it right where it was. I didn't dare climb inside of it the way the fire was going. And I might not be here to tell that tale if I had. And we went through 3 full fire extinguishers to suppress that down to where the last of it put it out, and I had another one sitting there. And you think about this, how many places have that many fire extinguishers close to hand? There was 10, 12 pumps. Every other set of pumps had a fire extinguisher, and I was having trouble getting people to get them to me in a timely manner. And it wasn't 3 minutes of fighting this thing, but I was having trouble getting enough fire extinguishers up to me, even though every other pump had a fire extinguisher. I literally had to point to somebody and be like, pump 5 and 6, there's a fire extinguisher right there, because they were looking around, panic, and adrenaline, lack of forethought, never having been in an environment like that before. So you need to be aware, you need to be cognizant in an emergency, where are my fire extinguishers? And we were able to get enough suppression on the fire to get it under control, and it's basically out. It was sitting there smoldering with that lovely black, chemical melted plastic smell, wiring and plastic, and what a mess. So just to recap this really quickly, keep your eyes open, pray and ask God to put you where He can use you. Sometimes you're just a good witness. You don't always have to jump in, but if it's in your parking lot and you're able to get fire suppression to it quickly and keep it coming, don't assume. You can always hang a fire extinguisher back up. Don't assume that one fire extinguisher is going to put it out, and make sure that you've called the authorities, etc., and so forth. So may the Lord bless you and keep you. May His face shine upon you. I gotta go take a shower. God bless.
If you enjoyed this microsode, check out the video and audio versions of the Let's Talk Church Safety and Security podcast.